Welcome, everyone. Deborah Gardner here, your host on Hospitality Today Live, and it is Thursday, September 23rd, and we are so proud to bring you and the entire hospitality profession the first ever International Hospitality Women's Day as a live broadcast event and to be recognized worldwide. It's a day of celebration for the achievements of women in the hospitality industry, along with a call to action accelerating women on an international stage. And hospitality women are making a difference. Now it's time to show just how essential these women really are in the hospitality industry and the world with our guests from Australia. Yes, we have Karen Bolinger, who is going to be with us today. She is the managing director of APAC with PCMA. She's also a C-suite executive with strong international experiences, especially in events, tourism, and hospitality services. Karen is a key leader for the country of Australia, and she's going to talk to you today about moving from secure, established jobs to another, and then COVID hits. How did she feel about this? What did she do about it? And also, what Karen actually cares about. We want to know that. And what would she tell young women who are just starting out in the hospitality industry, her advice, and so much more. So stick around. We'll be right back. Well, here we are back at Hospitality Today Live on this big grand day celebrating International Hospitality Women's Day. And we are just so delighted to have Karen Bolinger from Melbourne, Australia with us. Hi, Karen.
Hi, Deborah. How are you?
Wonderful now that you are here, and I know there's a big huge time difference, so thank you so much for making this possible. It's just going to be a great day of a lot of brilliant and interesting conversations, and so great to have you representing Australia to be here with us. And how's it going in Australia? I mean, the whole lockdown thing still going on? What's going on?
I think if you're up with the news, you will know that we started and really managed COVID incredibly well. But this new variant, the Delta variant, has thrown everything out, and it's absolutely run away with us. And that's partly to do with, when you're an island nation so far away and you close your borders, what it does is start to be able to put you in a position where you can control it and manage it. But all it's taken is a couple of things to get loose. And of course, with big cities like Sydney and Melbourne shut down, it impacts the entire country because 60% of our population is based between those two cities. So it's quite significant for us and a real challenge, particularly for the events and the tourism industry.
Yeah, that is true. We've been watching Australia very closely because there's been a lot of things that you all have been doing right compared to us here in the States. But I am very impressed, though, because I was just looking at the construction data report from Top Hotel Projects, and it showed Melbourne actually just this morning, a growing market, very healthy. There's a very healthy mix of 4 or 5 star hotels that are being built. I think it's like you've got like 5,400 new rooms on the books. So the hospitality industry is they're getting ready to get this all to come back. And I call it meeting revenge, but I think there's a lot of excitement going on in your country.
Yeah, and you know what? That's actually across the country, right, Deborah? I mean, yes, Melbourne. And before the pandemic, our hotels were running at like 80% occupancy year round, which is pretty significant. So what happens then is, of course, investors come in, brands want to buy, and they build. And what has happened during the pandemic is that has not slowed. So hotels are still going ahead, openings are still happening, and it's great to see that people still think there is a good future for us. And yes, it might be a little bit slow on the comeback, but I think there's definite pent-up demand.
Right.
And I think it's a matter of, when we can start controlling this virus through vaccines, then I think you'll find that there will be a lot of people out and about traveling. And I think that's what you're experiencing in North America at the moment with the vaccine. Everybody's said, look, let's go. And certainly we've had pockets of that here. Our challenge is we need internationals to come to Australia to help build our occupancy. So it's, our domestic market isn't big enough.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, I know that your background is very extensive and you are a very busy woman. And I know all the women viewers out there in hospitality land, internationally wise, is really going to be curious what Karen has been doing and is doing. I know you're the managing director of Apex with PCMA, and Sheriff and Bruce at PCMA are probably very proud of you. But tell us a little bit about your background and what you've been doing and how this all fits within your daily life today.
Yeah, so I am a hospitality lady. When I was 15, I went to a careers day at my school. This is actually back in England, and I went to the catering. Back in those days, that's what you could do, catering college. And I went, oh, that's actually just what I want to do. And then as time has gone on, I really wanted to be a GM of a 5-star hotel. Then I moved out into other parts of the business, like the Sydney Convention Bureau. I was actually working for a massive event space, which actually had about 5 businesses in it. And then, of course, I came back to bureaus in Melbourne. So I've kind of hit the gamut from hotels in the operational side into sales, into now, of course, working on the side of meeting planners through PCMA. So it's been really broad and really vast. And I wouldn't change what I do in hospitality, but I'd also sit there and say, I just don't think I realised the diversity of what we have in this sector. When I was coming up, I thought I'm just going to be a GM of a 5-star hotel. That's what I want to do. And of course, I never became a GM of a 5-star hotel. I went in about 5 other different directions, but I've added tools to my kit as I've gone along the way. So that's probably, I guess, the start of my journey.
Wow. Yeah, that is a lot. And because of it, you've gained so much experience and knowledge and skills from different areas. I mean, it's like I can't tell you how many hotel chains I've worked for. And I always thought how cool it was to go to these different type of job positions and learn how different companies and organizations run their business, as opposed to just staying with one hotel chain your entire career. So I feel that, like when I worked for Marriott, and then I'd go work for like Sheraton back then, I knew what Marriott's game plan was when I was working for Sheraton. So there's a lot of advantage for doing all kinds of different positions. And I think women in general should not be shy or embarrassed to, do that, because I think there's a lot to gain, and along with, building new relationships and just learning the business elsewhere. Don't you agree?
Yeah, and it's very funny. I'm an ex-Sheraton girl too. We went to Sheraton, and then I was Starwood when they merged it. But I had worked for other brands. And I think you're right, understanding businesses, their models, just even their management style and their leadership style. But I was really fortunate when I was with Sheraton or Starwood at the time that I had a really amazing general manager who was, in fact, he was the VP of the region. So he really propelled me and pushed me and gave me opportunities. And so I learned a lot as I went through. And I think to your point is to understand different work cultures, because that's what you're learning. You're learning new tools and techniques, but you're also learning work cultures that
Right.
you can apply to your job.
Right.
And I think that that's what's actually interesting about having a bit of a diverse career and not being afraid to
Sure.
take that leap into something that you may not have known.
Right. So any women that are listening out there, take it from Karen. Definitely don't be shy or even embarrassed to try different, like you said, company cultures out there, because that's how you learn and grow. And you got to take advantage of that opportunity. So so as busy as you are and doing so many things, when COVID hit, what went through your mind?
Well, I had taken a year off. So I'd quit my job at Melbourne Convention Bureau. It wasn't quite so simple as that, because it was a massive process in actually having a massive change. And I certainly sought lots of advice before I made that leap. And when you're the CEO of an organisation like that actually works on the global stage, I'd been recognised globally for the work that we'd done. To take a step back's a massive shift and challenge, and probably not something that most people would say, is that a smart move? And don't worry, that actually went through my process. And then, of course, I took the year off, and then just as I was starting to come back, I was approached by another hotel chain to do a big project for them. And then I went to a trade show here in Melbourne, and I'd lined a year's worth of work up. And then truly 2 weeks after the trade show, COVID just closed everything down. So my year's worth of work all disappeared, because I was doing strategic consulting and planning for many different organisations. And that's part of what I'd done through my career, was able to build my profile and my brand, that people wanted to have me involved. So I was very fortunate to do that, and that's definitely something people need to think about. But when COVID hit, I was like, right, where do I go? Every project I was working on had kind of said, we need to put a hold on it.
Right.
And then, Bruce and Sheriff then approached me and said, look, we understand. I guess they were thinking a bit more futuristic. We've got APAC. We've been in there for a while. You're available. Would you like to start actually helping us bring it up to speed as to where it needs to be? So that's kind of how I got involved with them. And then as time went on, people realised they did need to make investments in their strategies. So they brought me back on to start actually getting more involved. So I was juggling. I was 3 days a week for PCMA, and then I had a number of other projects around it. So it's actually, to be honest with you, probably worked out to my advantage, because first of all, I can work from home. So most of the projects I do are global. And yes, I do work some odd hours. But in a previous life, they may have gone for someone more local, because they couldn't have access, whereas everybody's used to working in this environment. Sure. And then, the really good ones are really thinking about their future. So that's where I've come in, because they're saying we actually just need expertise. So they don't need people like me for a long time, but what they need is to go in, power through some stuff, and then hand it back, and they get on with it. And that's what I'm finding most of my work is coming out of, is short-term, strong expertise at a C-suite level, and then off they go. So it's a win, really. I've been very fortunate in an environment that's tough.
Yeah, that sounds terrific, boy. And it's always great to hear when there's a silver lining that comes out of this whole pandemic. And there usually is. There's usually lessons that have been learned. And looking back, are there any that you think of? Is there anything that you care about that didn't happen or did happen that, just kind of a learning lesson? We all have that, but just curious of what you learned.
Yeah, two big things for me. Actually, maybe even three. So one is I quite thrive in chaos. I like change. So I'm kind of like, okay, this works for me, because I like that, almost sensory overload, and I can bring it together. Right. And in saying that, I still like my quiet time, don't get me wrong, but I'm not one of those that it doesn't paralyze me, and I don't have fear. I actually embrace it. So that resilience, I've got resilience in spades.
Nice.
And I know that. So, and I'm really comfortable about that. And then the other thing that I probably care the most strongly about is, and I think this has come through very strongly during COVID, is equality. I think we've got a long way to go, and whether that's across all things, not just gender equality, but certainly how we treat our fellow citizens, if you like, and provide them with the same opportunities that we all should have. I'm sure I don't know what your background is, Deborah, but I come from a working class background, did good. That's what we would say in Australia, done good. And I value that, and I appreciate the fact that I got that opportunity. So I would love others to have the same opportunities. And I think we've just got to get better at that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, those are good lessons, and so when you're getting back into the swing of things and things are starting to pick up, I believe that women in our industry are going to try new things. They're going to try new positions. I think they feel bigger and bolder than ever before. And I mean, just from the women that I've been talking to throughout the world while putting this whole project together. And yet I'm wondering from you though, what would you tell young women who are just starting out in the hospitality industry? Is there, it seems like everything's just open for them to try something new and different. So what do you suggest?
There's a couple of things, and I belong to an organisation called International Women's Forum that is in fact headquartered in the US, and it's a small group of women, 7,000 around the world, and we do in Australia like a bit of a mentoring program called Emerging Women Leaders, and we all go in as an established leader, and kind of it's an 8-week program, and we go in and we talk to them about, the next steps in their career. And so I guess, the women that come through that then start to reach out to us for mentoring. And we actually ask them to really think about what they value, where do they want to be, and then to be a bit more true to that. So, don't do something because you think it's the right thing to do. And if I think about my career, I just thought I was going to be a hotel girl forever and a day. And then when I left and went into convention bureaus, I kind of missed the hotel, but then I really got into convention bureaus because it was much more strategic from a city. So I took a risk and a chance, and then I'm taking another risk in walking away from a very coveted job. But it's working out. So it's about backing yourself. It's about confidence, and get a really good mentor that's also not afraid to be true to you. Because I think, as I used to say to my friends, I don't need a cheerleader because that's lovely. I actually need a realist who's going to throw things at me that I don't necessarily always want to hear. But, if I learn from that, that's a win.
Well, that's interesting because we've heard this today in other episodes about mentorship. And I totally believe that. Definitely embrace it, because I think women today are not as competitive. And I think we talked about this on another episode, that women are not as competitive against each other anymore. It's about helping each other. And why not? Because it's just boosting our way of income and fulfilling our dreams and the positions that we want to see through for our career. And so I love when I hear mentorship comes up, because it's very, very true. So what would it be if what would you be doing if you weren't in the hospitality industry? Was there ever a
dream job
life of Karen that she enjoyed or wants to go toward, or what would you be doing?
I'd love to think that I could have been like, I don't know, Adele, like a singer of some kind. But
right.
You need talent
Oh my gosh.
And I was quite renowned when I was young when we'd be at hospitality events. They were a little bit more casual than they are now, but to get up on stage and sing with the band. And I couldn't sing, by the way, but it was just the fun of doing it. And I kept thinking, gosh, if I had a dream, that would be it.
Big fan of hers.
It would just be a bit of fun. But I just think, that would be, if there's an alternative to what I do, then hey, why not go big, right?
Yeah. Isn't that fun? I mean, I'm a competitive swimmer, and I'm just pissed that I'm not a mermaid. I mean, I really want to be a mermaid. That would be so awesome. But oh well, it's it's funny because I've even tried. A lot of people have tried to get out of the hospitality. And I know a lot of people left the hospitality industry because of COVID, but it draws you back. Once you try something else, it's like, wait a minute, I had it really good and I love the people and what I've been, the opportunities in the
Yeah.
hospitality industry. So it's like, oh, I'm like, forget that. That didn't last very long. I came back and just said, hey, I'm never leaving this industry. So I think that happens a lot.
I think you're right. I think it's like, the way I describe it to people, it's a lifestyle that you choose,
Yes.
because it's not
Yes.
necessarily friendly,
Very
but
good.
it does also come with a lot of perks.
Right.
You
Right.
think of probably the travel you've been able to do, the events you've attended, all of that. I think of when we were showcasing our destination here in Melbourne, it was the best of the best for our clients, and I was included in that because that was what my job was. And so I think you're right. It's either in you or you're not. And I'm like you. There's plenty of times when I've gone, even when I quit, I was like, you know what, I'm going to go and do something else. And then a job came up and another job came up. And
Yeah.
I kind of think that actually is my area of expertise. So why not just use it? And I like it. And I like the people I get to work with. It's kind of a win. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow, that is good. That is so true. So true. Well, okay, so we've established this fabulous celebration of International Hospitality Women's Day here on Thursday, September 23rd. So can you tell us, what does this day mean to you?
Well, I think it's actually an amazing opportunity to truly celebrate women in our industry. I think that we are filled with women in our industry. I'd say it's probably 60 or 70% of the workforce. And I'm talking from the whole gamut,
Sure.
but I think our challenge is that whole leadership. So if you look at leadership levels across our entire industry, it's still low on the women's side. And I'm one of the biggest proponents of tapping people if I see stages filled with manels and not women, and I will discreetly go out and call it out to them and say, really, there are enough women in there. But and as one of them said to me last time I did it, well, there aren't enough women who head up associations. And I said, well, then you need to start finding some, because I'm sorry, but there's probably some brilliant number twos that could be just as good at that, and we've got to start doing that. So it's a celebration, and I think it's an acknowledgement of the work we do. And I think it's actually then, where are the opportunities that we actually can continue our journey as women in this industry that gets recognised and rewarded at the very same level that our male counterparts do. So that's,
Great.
if there was an outcome there, that would be it.
Yeah, totally. I thought that was beautifully described, because it's so true. And that's what we believe in. And why not get the word out starting today? So you made that possible. And I know a lot of people want to know more about Australia. What's the best way for meeting and event professionals to receive information for their next meeting event in Australia?
So there's a couple of ways. You can go through Tourism Australia, who have Business Events Australia, and that's their business arm, and they do have representation all over the world. Or go to your convention bureaus. So we have, they're called business events organisations here, or convention bureau. So we've got one in every major city in Australia, and then there are a couple of state ones. So I definitely, if you're looking at whether it's Sydney, Melbourne, Gold Coast, I definitely be reaching out to them, and they can help you with whatever your needs would be. And at the moment, some really great government initiatives to attract people, so good funding.
Okay.
And we are very COVID safe, of course.
Yes,
So,
of course.
so our challenge is you can't get into the country.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were the sweet baby of all countries, because you just handled it so well. I can't imagine why meeting and event professionals would not be looking at Australia right now, because you guys just did it right. You definitely did. And if if they're all as friendly as you are, my goodness, they're going to have a great time. There's no doubt. But this was a fantastic conversation with you today, and cannot thank you enough. What's the best way for anybody that wants to contact you as well, to talk to you? I have your email address. Are you also available on social media?
Yep, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, and I am on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's probably the one I use the most.
Okay.
And I actually, I am a frequent poster on LinkedIn. with the business hat on. And probably not so much on Twitter, although I do follow a lot. But I just posted my beautiful morning sunrises this morning, because I'm in the morning, you're the afternoon.
I know.
So yeah.
And Arizona is very strange compared to the rest of our states here, but it's all good. It's all good. All I know is you made it here for us, and we so appreciate it. And what a delight you are, and all the information that you shared. And I know any woman in the hospitality that can see you as a role model, they're going to be just as successful. So thank you so much for being with us.
You are very welcome, Deborah. And I do actually just want to say to you, I've had a couple of people reach out to me through LinkedIn who've kind of gone, oh, you've got this profile. And then we end up having conversations. And the interesting thing is they've gone, I never would have thought to ask you, but you've just been so accommodating to help me. And I think as women, you will find other women do that. So I would say to people, don't hesitate to pick up the, well, not the phone anymore, as it is, send a message, because I think there are women like us out there who are very prepared to lift other women up. So do it, people.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I want to thank David Kleiman for connecting us as well. So our good buddy here in the States. So it's all about relationships, bottom line, and we can make
certainly
that happen.
Is. I agree with you. Thanks for your time.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. And we will be glad to see you someday face to face.
Yes. Let's hope it's sooner rather than later.
Right. I agree. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Well, there you go. You just had the opportunity to listen to such a beautiful and brilliant businesswoman, Karen Bolinger. She is amazing. And as you can tell, she's very, very busy, but she's also a big advocate to the industry, helping us today celebrate International Hospitality Women's Day. And cannot thank her enough. And if you want to see this episode again, by all means, just take a look at our social media platforms, and it'll be right there for you to share with others as well. And if you have any questions, or if you have any comments or any ideas to help us expand this day, by all means, contact us at hello@hospitalitytodaylive. So we are just, again, ecstatic for this day. We are just getting started, and there's going to be even more great topics from amazing women from around the world. And we don't want you to go far, because today we are just so proud to bring this wonderful, wonderful celebration of International Hospitality Today Live broadcast event, while recognizing hospitality women worldwide. So stick around. We'll be right back.